Ron. And I'm like, oh my.
Well,
So here we
you're
go.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. And so we'll just get this launched now. We want to make sure we have enough time to cover everything Dr. Ron's going to share with us tonight. I really respect Dr. Ron in so many ways, but what I love about him is he's not afraid to tell the truth. In a world that we live right now, the world that we live in, it's full of censorship and it's full of people afraid to kind of speak the truth because of the repercussions. And so we're not going to kind of dive down that rabbit hole, but I appreciate you, Dr. Ron, because at the end of the day, you're here to help empower people for their health, help educate them on how they can take control of their health. And I know that was one of the big things for me. My health journey began 11 years ago when my son was injured by the MMR vaccine. So that wasn't fun to go through, but it was really a big part of my waking up process and understanding that if I was going to make my family healthy and kind of, get us back on track, it was up to me because the medical community had failed me at that point. With that being said, I think that doctors, of course, you being one, Dr. Ron, are for their time and place, but it's very important that we take ownership of our health. And tonight's topic of inflammation, we're going to be discussing with Dr. Ron, but Dr. Ron is incredible. He actually speaks and shares, and he does it on, in front of thousands. He educates thousands, and he's done it as with his patients one-on-one. He is a chiropractor of over 25 years and also focuses on neurofeedback. So I think the last time that we spoke, you did a really incredible Wellness Wednesday on the brain and just really what you've seen with activation. So tonight we're going to be discussing inflammation. Dr. Ron, you kick it off. Give us a whole background. I know inflammation is the big
Sure.
buzzword, but we'll start off there, I guess.
Well, first, let me just introduce myself. My name is Dr. Ron Nathanson. I went to Northeastern University undergrad. I had an undergrad degree in neuropsychology. I went to chiropractic school after being hit by a car on a bicycle, August 25th, 1994. And I started doing neurofeedback because my daughter had OCD type like symptoms. And I found that I wasn't going to go put her on medication. So my background has always been that the body is a magical, powerful thing and it could heal itself. And inflammation is something that's new and more prevalent now than ever before in our society. And unfortunately, everywhere you look, anything you're doing, if you're not really cautious of what you're doing, you're probably going to create some sort of inflammation in your body. That's simple. If you're using detergents, if you're using underarm deodorant, I mean, not telling you not to use underarm deodorant, but be careful what you put on. Your mouthwash, your toothpaste, the food you eat, the stuff, anything. I mean, perfumes, colognes, it just goes on and on. It's kind of scary, actually. And then you sit there and you walk into a supermarket and you say, well, this is the health food section. What's the rest of the supermarket? That's like my favorite thing to say to people. It's a chemical storm. And that chemical storm is basically designed to keep you sick. Inflammation, if you think that you're new to the game of inflammation, well, Big Pharma's been there for a long time. They know how to keep you sick. They want to keep you sick. It's a business plan, cradle to grave. They started telling women how long ago not to breastfeed their babies. So kids were born, without the proper nutrition to help their brain function. So then what do you get? You get, well, we can talk about going from 6 vaccines to 72 vaccines by the time you're 18 years old and how much inflammation that causes. And that's kind of scary to think about. And then just, we go down the rabbit hole, if we want, but I don't want to go there yet. Let's slow down the brakes, but just say that this much inflammation is everywhere. And if you really want to get scared, if you know anybody that has had the COVID shot, I had a woman in my office yesterday, thought she was really doing well. I did a brain map of her and I said, I really have some bad news for you. And I don't mean to scare you because you don't seem to think you have a lot of problems, but let me show you this brain map. Her brain map showed her brain was completely inflamed. So it doesn't just happen on cellular level on your skin, or it happens in all your organs. It happens in your brain. It happens to be, and what's magical is what we do. I mean, like, I love to talk about how great this company is. Like, that's really, I mean, inflammation is the scariest thing there is out there because it's killing everybody. You go PubMed, type in it in, you'll see 300,000 articles just on inflammation alone, peer-reviewed articles from every university you could ever imagine. It's there. They know it's there, and they want you to be inflamed. So that's why our
Yeah.
country's so overweight.
I agree. I mean, there's so many different layers. We're talking about the obesity epidemic, the toxic load alone, what they're spraying our food source with. I mean, it's not, I mean, we're breathing in the fumes, the water we drink, the air we breathe. I mean, we know that we can't avoid it. And even the people that live, I think, the most healthy diet, right? They only eat organic, they exercise every day. It's crazy, but I had a really close friend of mine diagnosed with cancer, healthiest girl I knew, right? And so
Mhm.
silent inflammation is deadly inflammation, and sometimes we don't even know until it hits us with a ton of bricks. But the really incredible thing is that the body's inflammation is part of the body telling us part of the body protecting itself, right, Dr. Ron?
Sure.
So
Well, if you
um,
twist your ankle, you're going to get an inflamed ankle. That's your body's telling you, hey, slow down. I don't want you running. I need you to calm down, right? That's good inflammation. That's a protective inflammation. But the type of inflammation I'm talking about is toxic overload, where free radicals are overtaking the body and are actually destroying your body. So, like, if you really want to get down to what it's doing, it's like every cell your body is losing its ability to survive. It's getting overloaded. It's being attacked. The magic is that your body can actually heal itself. And because your body is so resilient, you're exposed to so many toxins everywhere. I mean, we haven't even started talking about chemtrails or anything like that. We can get into all kinds of crazy worlds here. I don't want to do that because then I sound like a nutcase. But what I really want you to get is this, that if you don't take caution and you don't start taking care of yourself in a way, if I don't start taking care of myself, then I'm at the effect of what's around me. My drinking water, it's got garbage in it. The air I breathe's got garbage in it. How about this one? Fast food. I'm not a fast food eater, but if you're a fast food eater, every fast food restaurant that they just recently checked out had high glyphosate, which is, Roundup, metals, heavy metals like cadmium. Like, what are you putting metals into food for? You don't need heavy metals in food. And then, of course, glyphosate is one of the greatest things if you want to inflame a body, and that's it. And like 80% of all children today are urinating glyphosate out in their urine. So it ain't by mistake, guys. It is a business plan. There's a group of people in this world that want to see a lot of people sick because it makes a lot of money. There's no profit in healthy people, unfortunately.
hey, you're not crazy, Dr. Ron. You're just not speaking the mainstream narrative, and that's okay too, because we're here to get people healthy. That's all we're here for. So
Right.
let's talk about activation. We know that inflammation is at the foundation of a lot of these chronic illnesses, a lot of these chronic issues, autoimmune issues, all the things we can name them. We could probably list, well, you said go to PubMed, look up inflammation, look up oxidative stress on PubMed. And I think the number is growing by the day. So oxidative stress and inflammation is at the root of issues, dis-ease in the body. So let's talk about the solution, because I know we kind of doom and gloomed you
Oh,
for about
I love
a good
talking
5
about
minutes.
Dr. Joe McCord. Dr. Joe McCord was a genius, right? This little man discovered superoxide dismutase in 1969. So he was way ahead of the curve, way ahead of the game. And in 1992, when he started doing all this research on the Genome Project, he was a big part of that. He comes up with an idea. He starts to realize that, 5 simple things: turmeric, green tea, bacopa, ashwagandha, and milk thistle, 5 simple herbs. Well, I'm also I'm a big science person, but I do believe that God was involved in this on some level, because he talked about this in Genesis 1:23. He says, I gave you everything you needed, from fish to fowl and every plant you need. So here's 5 simple things. If you don't think this is a divine thing that's going to help you, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but these 5 things, they activate our body. What do? It's a perfect little blend that causes our body to activate. If you take too much of it, it's not going to work very well. If you take too little of it, it's not going to do anything either. That was our first research paper. So basically, it's a perfect little blend that's sitting in there. And what that does is it starts to create 3 things: catalase, superoxide dismutase, and glutathione. Now, if you don't know what glutathione is, it's your body's natural ability to fight. It's your autoimmune, and it's your immune system kicking up and really doing well. It is the greatest thing your body makes. And I don't know anything that brings up the glutathione in your body 300%. I used to take NAC, and I think that increases glutathione by 25 to 30%. This is a real big thing. And it's only 5 simple herbs, right? So they talk about activation. Then when we want to bring the NRF1 in, why is that magical? Because mitochondria is the most important thing. If you're ever going to do anything about metabolizing and using energy in the body, well, that NRF1 is a gift. And most people seem to overstep that. But I'm going to tell you, guess where oxidative stress is reduced? In the mitochondria. So if you have more mitochondria in the cell, then that's great. Now that's why you start to see, when you use that tri-synergizer, it explodes all the different gene markers. Then we got that NAD, man. Well, that NAD synergizer is incredible also, because we go look at what Dr. David Sinclair is talking about. He's talking about our bodies being the fountain of youth is this NAD. Well, he's supplementing with it and probably absorbing maybe a third of it at best. You're activating your own body's NAD, which, getting these sirtuins to speak is magic. Again, we're working with the power that makes your body, that heals your body, and it doesn't happen any other way. So these are gifts from God. I really do believe that this is no mistake. At a perfect time, you couldn't ask for a better product to be coming to the world. You couldn't ask to be a better company with more integrity. You couldn't ask to have the company that's going to explode, because the world's going to wake up. You see, we're right now in that little world of the early, what are the innovators and the early innovators and early adapters, right? So here we go. Now we're just about to get into that early majority, and this is about to explode. So if you haven't gotten into activation yet, I invite you to try some of these products. They're amazing. If you're in the business aspect of this, you have nothing to be ashamed of. You should be out there telling everybody what you're doing, serving people. And if you can't tell them yourself, put them in front of someone like Jenny or myself or somebody who's going to speak to them, because they're going to hear the message. And the message is simple. Your body can heal itself. All it needs is a little help. It slows down that aging process. And you know what? I haven't met anybody yet who's taken this product and haven't said, oh my God, this wasn't a gift. So ask me some more questions. I'll be happy to answer.
I love it, Dr. Ron. Well, I love it. I mean, the way that I say it is, who wants to age backwards? I mean, it's super simple. You're getting into the science. What Dr. Ron is talking about, if you're a guest tonight, is our Protandem. It's our foundational line. It's our activation line. And Dr. Ron, will you just kind of dig in a little bit deeper as to how activation is so much more important than supplementation, and what impact that has on inflammation, of course?
Let's first talk about when you supplement. First of all, supplementing is adding something to your body, right? So supplementing is like you're putting something that you're not getting in your diet, you're adding it to it. So B complex, C, whatever the vitamins you are. We all know about supplementation, but activation is activating a system in the body that already exists, but because of time and aging, it activates, it keeps it. Well, it's like turning the faucet back on. You see, as we age, our faucet, let's say you have the best way to describe it is we make superoxide dismutase. Like imagine a faucet flowing. As we're young, it's flowing really fast. But as we age, that faucet starts to slow down. When we activate this, we turn that faucet back on. It doesn't matter how old you are. The body keeps producing the same enzymes that allow your body to heal itself and keep you young. So what makes that exciting is there's nothing like this in the world. So we're activating the innate system of the body. Now, let me give you some bad news. Most vitamin companies are now owned by drug companies. And if you don't think there's a conflict of interest in that, let me tell you another thing. No one regulates supplements. So you don't know what they're actually putting in there. So recently I had someone bring some vitamin C in that they were giving their child. I started looking at this. I go, do you see what's in this vitamin C? They said, no. I said, high fructose corn syrup. Do you know what high fructose corn syrup does to your kid's thyroid and your adrenals? That kid is already overweight. They're 9 years old. So what do you think this is? So if you don't know, the high fructose corn syrup is inflammatory. One of those things that are going to cause you to create inflammation, and it's in everything. Right. So if supplement companies are really in the idea of helping people, you would never put high fructose corn syrup in there. On top of that, no one's monitoring these things. No one's regulating these things. So that's what I love about our company with the BSCG and the NSA. BSCG is the Banned Substance Control Group. It tells everybody that our products do not cause doping or any problems for athletes like Olympic athletes, pro athletes, and college athletes, which is really important because imagine losing a gold medal because you took a supplement and you found out that actually was going to get you in trouble. So that's a beautiful thing. Now think about this one. The NSA, the National Sanitation Association, basically talks about making sure what's in our products stays in our products. So every lot of our product is tested. That talks about integrity. Now, I thought all supplement companies did that until I found out they didn't. So the reality is, this company is at the forefront of everything in the world. Listen, I'm a chiropractor, but I'm also a business coach, and I love to stick my finger in your holes and rip them right open. I tried doing it with this company, and there's no holes to find in this company. The integrity is everywhere. I would never, ever walk into my practice and try to sell Fred Flintstone vitamins to my patients. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't sell vitamins at all. But when I came to this company and I started seeing the research from Harvard, Northwestern, Louisiana State, the American Heart Association, National Institute of Aging, I said to myself, these are real research articles. These are not some, someone paid some money to have someone do. No, these are peer reviewed. These are powerful. Science to me is very powerful. And what activation does, it doesn't matter what the symptoms are. The body, when it's activated, is going to do better.
The body is the miracle. And just a slight correction, I think you were getting excited. NSF certification is the gold standard of
I'm sorry, NSF,
yeah,
yes.
no, the NSA,
Yep.
I was like, wait, was that something I didn't know about?
No. NSA is the guys
I
that are
love it.
spying on us right
I
now.
just wanted to confirm they probably are, and that's okay. They'll probably learn something too. No, no, I love that. And let's just dive in a little bit about the activated collagen, because I know that we're talking about our foundational line, but we know that like collagen is the big buzzword. And to be honest, when we launched our activated collagen, I was like, oh, what's the big deal? You hear it everywhere. It's sold everywhere. It's sold in Costco. And, like we said, quality over quantity sometimes, but quality is not always best. So what role does our activated collagen, because we know that combined with our NRF2 product is our #1 seller. How does that play a role in inflammation?
Well, think about this. Collagen is the building block of everything in your body. Now, there are different types of collagens. You have beef collagen, chicken collagen, pork collagen, and you have fish collagen. Beef, pork, and chicken are all hormone infested, steroid pumped, and antibiotic overdose, right? We're using fish, and we're not using the part of the fish that has anything to worry about. Our activation, our collagen has 10 different types of collagen. One of them is collagen 18. And if you're not familiar with collagen 18, I invite you to go look it up, but it's good for reducing tumors. Where do you find tumors? I can't say we cure cancer because we don't, but collagen 18 actually destroys tumors and cancer. Shh. Our red ruby activation, our red ruby quinoa is what activates. Now, what does that mean? We have collagen. Every company makes collagen. And I've had powder collagens, and man, oh man, I used to drink collagen all the time in my coffee every morning with the MCT oil and the butter, the Kerrygold. I never saw the results that I see with our collagen. Why? Because our collagen, first of all, has an activator. And an activator is what makes our company different than any other company. And what activation means is it activates the body to make more collagen. Right? I can replenish collagen, I can maintain collagen, but I can't activate it if I use any other collagen. So that separates us. That's like the Ferrari versus the Chevy. You get what I'm saying? We're way ahead of the game. This company takes that activation, puts it in collagen. It was ironic when our collagen product came out. A friend of mine from Young Living called me up and said, hey, we have a collagen product. And I was like, oh, everybody's got a collagen product. Then 30 days later, I started seeing the photos of every person I knew and their faces changing. And I was like going, nobody's collagen's doing this. There is nobody's collagen doing this. So I bought the collagen because originally I was like collagen, schmollagen. I started taking the collagen, and after 90 days, my face looked so much different. I can't pull up the photos right now, but I promise you, my photos, the wrinkles in my eyes, the wrinkles on my forehead, gone. I was like, wow.
I mean, I thought you looked like 25 when you got on this Zoom. I don't know about you.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm 55, but that's okay. Thank you very much.
Hey, you're still doing well.
Thank you. Well, that's, but it really comes down to this. This company has always been ahead of the game. It is a company that's really based in science, not based in profit. It's based in the idea, and the profit's coming. Don't get me wrong here. Watch our stock. We're publicly traded. Company's legit. We're in the black. How many companies that are in the black after 13, 14 years? This is an amazing company. Like I said, I've never found anything that worked as well as this. If I told you what it does for brain maps, it's incredible. Just Axio, the Tri-Synergizer, and the collagen. You put those things together in one person's body, and their brains are going to change. Why? You're putting more mitochondria in the brain cells. You're getting rid of the oxidative stress. You're fixing all the proteins in the body that have been destroyed. And then using the NAD to get rid of the autophagy or the bad cells in the body. It is a winning combination. It does not ever fail. I've not had anybody who's not taken all three of those things together and not had incredible results.
Let's talk about brain mapping, because I know the last time we did our Wellness Wednesday, it was phenomenal. I think you actually showed a before and after of brain map. And we know that inflammation in the brain is, half the population is on antidepressants, anti-anxiety. That's to say a few of the side effects of brain inflammation and what's going on in our brains. But What can you say about your brain mapping experience, about your neurofeedback? I know that last time we talked a lot about kids with ADD, ADHD. We've got this, you guys, it's not a secret. And Dr. Ron and I can talk for an hour about why we know that our kids are chronically ill. Like we have, I think the autism rates now, what is it? I don't even think 1 in
I
50.
think in males, it's 1 in 23 males. When I was in chiropractic school, it went from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 5,000. So the reality is it's an epidemic that's growing. Plenty of people out there say it has nothing to do with the vaccines, but if you look at the increased numbers of vaccines, you're going to see when I was a kid, we had 6. Now there's 72 vaccines by the time you're 18. Now there's adult vaccines. That was the move that the Wall Street Journal was talking about in 2015, that the future of vaccines, someone's talking that's not, I don't know what's happening, but so we had vaccines were now being targeted for adults. So the pandemic didn't surprise me that they rushed that vaccine out, and it's quite dangerous. So when we look at brain function, one of the things I will tell you that psychology is a beautiful thing, and yet they are way behind in the idea of what brain function is. You're diagnosing people, and when C. Everett Koop was the Surgeon General of this country, he was saying that 28% of all diagnoses were correct. And the Mayo Clinic said, no, 32% of all diagnoses were correct. Well, if I got a 28 or a 32 on an exam, I failed drastically, okay? Iatrogenic disease, the 3rd leading cause of death in this country. So if you don't believe me, look it up. When you do, go Google iatrogenic, IATROGENIC. Then look up Johns Hopkins University, and they'll tell you that that's the 3rd leading cause of death. But if you look up the 10 causes of death in America, it ain't going to show up, but it means doctor caused. So let's talk about brain mapping. Brain mapping can tell us all kinds of things. It can tell me if a person's got anxiety. It can tell me if a person's got ADD. And by the way, those are the 2 misdiagnosed things you'll find, because a lot of kids come in my office and they told they have ADHD because the kid's hyper. Well, what do you think anxiety is? A kid that's hyper. They both can't focus. They both can't sit still. The difference is one's very slow brain waves like ADHD, and one's very fast brain waves, which is anxiety. If I put amphetamines into a kid who has anxiety, I am now going to force his brain into oxidative stress, real heavy oxidative stress. Within a few years, that kid's going to be on antidepressants. And if he gets a firearm in his hand, God only knows what he could do, right? This is why you see what you see in these schools. I'm going to get in trouble for this, but every shooting you look at in one of these schools, you're going to find some sort of psychotropic drug and a parent that didn't lock up the gun cabinet. That's just facts. I'm not anti-gun, but I am anti-gun in crazy people's hands. And that's the facts. So with that, we have a society that is trying to medicate everything out when it doesn't make any sense. We have food that's not food. So how in God's name can we expect to be healthy? That's why when I look at our products, I say these are products that really work. They really make a difference. They actually do the things they say they do. They have the science behind them. They have the products demand behind them. You have every person on this phone right now. We have 174 people on this call right now that know this is working, and it's just going to keep getting better. So I don't know. Brain mapping is something that I can tell you, we can absolutely tell you if you have ADD versus if you had a concussion, if you had a PTSD, if you have narcolepsy, if you have insomnia. I can point it out all in brain mapping. The concussion issue is actually the NFL uses neurofeedback for football players that have had concussion protocols. A bunch of articles about the Denver Broncos, the Chargers at one time, which were in San Diego. Plenty of teams. If you look at, there was a show this year called Quarterback, right? That was on Netflix. Kirk Cousins is on there. I think it's episode 4. About 10 minutes into it, he's getting a brain map. So it's everywhere. Oh, if you like that show, The Upside Down, what's that show? Stranger Things. 11's getting a brain map back in 1980, but that's a much more primitive map than what we do today.
I love it. Well, the proof is in the pudding, and it'd be interesting if we could map our whole body, right? The inflammatory process of our body. But the point is we're being exposed at a level that's greater than it ever has been. We're not getting solutions from our diet, right? Our food source is depleted. I was reading an article today about potatoes. Like if you don't buy organic potatoes, and let's not go to the organic because that's a whole other myth too. But anyway, the reason why they spray it with glyphosate is so they can harvest the potato earlier. So if you're, you know what I mean? It's all like, I'm just like, even potatoes, I just bought non-organic because I was trying to save like $5 at Thanksgiving, and I almost like, anyway, just as a side note.
Just think about French fries. Once you cook non-organic French fries in oil, that could be vegetable oils. you're just inviting yourself to a carcinogenic nightmare, inflammation, and I love French fries, so don't get me wrong, but I'd rather make them in my
Make
house
your own in
than,
your air fryer.
but seriously, but if you're going out and having French fries at any fast food restaurant, you're getting vegetable oils, which, canola oil basically, and potatoes that are filled with everything. Because remember, potatoes are in the ground. So anything that's being sprayed, be it fertilizers or your glyphosate, whatever, even rainwater that's coming down, potatoes absorb everything. And there's no hiding. There's very thin skin. So what you're getting is a toxic overload. And your body, if you don't feel it, it's probably because you're disconnected. If you feel it, every time I have French fries when I'm out, my stomach goes, ugh, God.
That's because you probably eat really healthy, but
do my best. I do my best. But you know what?
That's all we can
it's
do.
getting
And
harder and harder.
Right. Dr. Ron, that's a good way to say we try our best, but we need to kind of tip the scale. And so, just as a side note, this whole cancer industry, we should do a whole thing on cancer, because my mom, we cured her. Well, I didn't say we cured her, but she cured herself from triple negative breast cancer. Crazy. Doctor said she was never going to make it. She literally, it's a whole long story, but I'm not kidding you. Like when she took her body back, detoxification, cellular detoxification, and put all the nutrients back in, detox from heavy metals, detox from parasites, detox from candida, did all of these things. Oh my gosh, lo and behold, 2 months later, no more tumor. Like her doctor literally in Santa Monica called her in, was like, we've never seen this before. And I went in and I said, well, you've never seen this because you're filling everybody with chemicals. Don't get me started. So I'm not saying, and we can go a whole thing on that. I get that people have to make their own choice, but they're not given the information. And then you combine that with our insurance, companies that force you to do things a certain way. I mean, you guys, there's nobody doing you any favors. You have to take control of your health. And this is a part of it. So let's talk a little bit more, Dr. Ron. We have to wrap this up in like 7 minutes, but what can you leave us with? Like, what's the most important thing that people need to know in regards to inflammation and activation? If you've heard this and you don't want to get started on the products, I don't know what else he needs to tell you, but let's
start about this. Well, first of all, inflammation. There are 5 things that are going to cause you inflammation that you have every day in your diet: corn, wheat, soy, sugar, and dairy. All of that has been just poison. Why? Because it's filled with glyphosate. So let's just start there. Try your best to do that as organic as you can. If you're going to eat wheat, do yourself a favor. Try a thing called Eichhorn wheat, which is from Europe. It's the original what wheat used to be, amber waves of grain, not these small, little shrubs that they decided to genetically modify to destroy our health, because it's cheaper and more effective and not destroyed by the wind. So that's why they did it. The reality is you want to start looking at everything you're putting on your body. And there's an old saying that my kids used to say in kindergarten when they would do things: if you get what you get and you don't get upset. Well, if you're not willing to take on the actions of responsibility for your health, and you're going to give somebody else the responsibility of taking care of you, you're going to get what you get. Don't get upset. It's your life. You do what you need to do. I do what I do every day. Why do I do it? I think the things that are really important that Jenny didn't talk about: infrared is really important for helping down inflammation. Saunas are really good. Ice baths, I would also say, really take a plunge every once in a while. Be a little crazy and daring. Jump in some ice water. It really is amazing what it does for inflammation. But it is a war for your health. And if you didn't know this yet, you're an asset to any drug company. The longer they can keep you alive while sick, the more money they make off you. I just watched my father pass away in September. He had acute myeloid leukemia. And for 3.5 years, he was getting chemo. He was getting every drug, everything. It was crazy. And I just begged him, please stop. Your blood values, every time you get your chemo, you're off the chemo, go back to normal. And then I go to the doctor and ask him why this is. If you really have this leukemia, my dad didn't die from leukemia. He died from the chemo. They destroyed him. And it's a hard thing to watch because I love my dad very much. And he did take the tri-synergizer for about 2 or 3 months, and then it said it was too much for him to swallow, because that's what they do. They can keep these people near death. My dad was diagnosed in 2019. He lived 3.5 years, which was more than he was expected to live, because he was only expected to live 3 to 6 months. And we had him on high doses of vitamin D. Back then I had him on NAC. And then when I got him on the tri-synergizer, his blood values actually started to get really close to normal. And I begged him. And then he said to me, this is what happens to that generation. I don't want to be like my dad. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can right now to stop that, so that I'm not that guy who's dependent on chemo. And I don't want to see anybody I know take that stuff, unfortunately, because I know what it does. So you're responsible for your health. take that on. Take that on. Do research. If you're going to spend time and energy on your car or your computer, take the time to research your health. It's the only health you're going to get. And be careful where you're researching too, because drug companies definitely have their hands into the information war that's out there. And it is an information war.
Yeah,
So.
I love that, Dr. Ron. And we've talked about activation and how important that is. You guys, I've been on these products 11 years. It changed my son's health. It changed my health. I had chronic inflammation, chronic stress. And one of the things I want to add is like, it's our mental state, right? Being in nature, not being so connected to our phones, being so stressed out, the 9 to 5, you know, I was so thankful that I said yes to this opportunity 11 years ago because I wanted a change in my life. I didn't want to do the 9 to 5. I didn't want to do the grind. I wanted to be home with my kids. And I was able to really change my life, my family's life because of this opportunity. And I'm just as passionate about sharing the opportunity as I am about these products because we live in an environment of chronic stress. Okay. It's just the way that our world is. And a lot of it's our choice, but a lot of it is the cycle that we get pushed into. So mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, activation, all of these different things play a role to tip the scale of inflammation. And I'm going to let you wrap it up, Dr. Ron, because I'm sure you'll have the words of wisdom as we close tonight. This was amazing.
We are an activation company. So think of it like this. You're activating the innate power within your body. This is a gift from God. If you don't think so, then don't think so. But they've never seen anything where 5 herbs could do so much good for somebody. And if you take it out of proportion, it doesn't work. So it's a specific blend that works magic. And when I say works magic, I'll just leave you with this. When I took my life insurance exam last year, they quoted me a price of $380. They took my blood pressure. It used to be 120 over 80, went down to 110 over 60. My cholesterol, which was normally 236, was down to 195. I got a call from my insurance broker saying, I've never made a phone call like this before, Ron, but your life insurance policy that I quoted you at 380 is now going to be 250 a month for life insurance. I was like, wow, that just paid for my products for the year. So if you don't think activation works, get some blood tests, do it. I mean, because a lot of times people don't feel it, but I don't care if you feel it or not. Get your blood tested, get your cholesterol tested, get your biomarkers tested, then take these products and see what happens. It's a good thing. So thank you, Jenny, for having me here. It is always an honor and privilege. It was a privilege meeting you in San Antonio and New Orleans. I love your group. You always bring the energy, and it's a lot of fun to be here. So thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. And you guys remember, your health is an investment, not an expense. That's one of the things we need to start changing the way we think to change our life, right? Our health, our mindset, our income, our, you know, all of these things. It's like, look at it when you're sharing these products with people, tell people that it's their choice, that they can spend a lifetime of being more ill, right? Putting more money out, or investing in their health, investing in the time to educate yourself on what we are saying today, because now the ball's in your court. I always like to throw the ball back. I have to ask you one thing, Dr. Ron, can I book you for cancer education? Because I think we could probably book out an hour.
Yeah, we could do
I'll
that for sure.
message you.
We'll talk offline, but yeah, for sure. And
Let's
the other thing I would say to
that,
people,
I
I would
think that could be
say
a
one
really
last
big-
thing to people about cancer: stay away from sugar. Cancer loves sugar. It just loves sugar. Anybody I've ever known who's had cancer seems to love to eat cake and soda pop and stuff like that. Do yourself a favor, stay away from it. The last thing I would say is, like you were talking about, it's an investment. There was an old saying that they said about oil fram commercials. It said, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. It's a better time to pay it now because it's a lot cheaper than what it's going to be later on down the road. And as we're finding out, insurance companies are paying less and less for people's health. So you want to do everything you can right now to invest in yourself so you don't have to be a statistic. Being a statistic is not what life's about. Living your life activated is what it's about. And I'm really grateful to be part of this company. And I'm really grateful to be here with you guys tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ron. We've heard a lot of people in the chat saying it's best call ever, which I agree. I'm a little biased. You're amazing. So
thank you very much.
Guys, stay tuned. Next Wellness Wednesday, we do these every single Wednesday. Stay tuned. Invite your friends, invite your family. We do not send out the recording because we want to protect the medical professionals that are giving information that we know is against the status quo, which is what you need to hear. So anyways, join us next Wednesday and we'll try to get Dr. Ron back on again.
Thank you again so much, guys. Have a good one.
Bye now.